Please sit tight as the SpacePod prepares for departure.
We all about that Skrilla. We all in this bitch. Like, come on, stop playing, bro. Stop playing. Go run that shit up, kid.
Fuck, why can't I grab any?
I think you ate them all.
Hey. Hey.
Yeah, we're rolling, by the way.
All right.
Were those good?
Well, if I could grab one, then they'd be real good.
I've never been a fan of chitlin. Or what is those? Pork rinds?
Yeah, upside down pork rinds.
Upside down pork rinds. Yeah, never. I don't know why. Never got into them.
Smells like corn.
Kevin was over here comparing them to Doritos.
No way.
Bro, do you know what pork rinds are made out of?
Pig intestines.
Well, yeah, but it says fried pork skin and salt. That's
Pork
it.
skin. That's what it is. It's the skin.
You thought it was intestines?
I'm good.
I'm thinking. What I'm thinking of is what I said first. Chitlins. Isn't that like pig intestines or something like that? I forget. Anyway.
They're called chicharrones.
Chicharrones.
Chicharron.
$2.99. That's a steal these days.
Yeah, I know.
That's what I was saying. It's a very good price.
That is a good
Cheaper than
price.
Doritos.
So what brings you back into the studio, bro?
I just wanted to check out the new threads. I mean, look at this place. It looks incredible.
Appreciate that.
It's an honor to be the first person to interview in the new spot. It looks incredible.
You've done 3 interviews already?
And they're all 3 different, like, I did the first spot that you guys had, and then I did here before the renovation.
Yeah.
And now the new one.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Every single time you've been here, and it's a whole different vibe. Like that first time was the green screen.
Yeah, it was. It was me and Callie.
That's just funny as hell.
And we're always at, like, very different points in our careers, too.
Yeah, for sure.
It's a nice, like, little update, Get to hang out and talk and see where we're both at.
Well, yeah, because this renovation took about 3 months, and then before that, you still haven't been here for a while.
It was my 29th birthday, so it was like a year and a half ago.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So what you been working on?
I dropped 2 albums since then. I announced Hell Was Boring here. During that interview, I announced the album title, released that, did a couple tours last year, and then I just released another album, Uninvited Guest, 3 weeks ago, something like that. And now I'm on tour right now, again.
Oh, yeah, dude.
So just working immensely, just finally, getting focused. The tours are getting easier to book. The music is getting easier to promote. Everything's just, learning and growing and kind of getting better.
I was going to say, have we been rapping about the same time?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
When did you start? What do you remember the year?
I started making music in like 2009, but I didn't start doing shows until 2013.
Okay.
So about 12 years now. Jeez.
You're old.
Yeah, I know.
That's
Oh
funny.
my God.
Well, yeah, you are officially like a veteran rapper.
I know,
in
yeah.
Fargo.
I think I mentioned this before, but I've been called Unk a couple times. OG. I'm starting to feel like the middle child.
You know what? It's not really a bad thing because,
Experienced.
yeah, you're wise now. You have tons of wisdom.
I feel like I have a lot more direction now too. Like the 20s are fun and incredible, but now like in the 30s, it's like financially more stable.
Yeah.
All the experience of the 10 years before. Everything seems like it's moving and progressing a lot faster than it had before. So I'm only more excited. You dread it until you hit 3-0 and then you're like, oh, nothing's different at all. It's just an age that doesn't matter, isn't real. So
I've always said this, like, I don't know, like until like more recently, I've had this like epiphany where it's like, as men, especially in like this day and age, we don't really get our shit together until about 30 years old.
I mean, definitely not me. So
most men, they're just winging it,
right,
just flowing, and then all of a sudden they're like, oh, I'm fucking up. I need to actually go get something going,
Yeah.
And that's around the age of like 30, in my opinion,
Yeah, it definitely took me that long because I definitely didn't have anything figured out for the first good 28, and then finally started. And I still don't. You know what I mean? there's always room for improvement and growth in life. So I think
Right.
the more that I think the older that you get, the more you realize that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You kind of lose the shed of your early 20 ignorance of like, I know everything, nothing bad is ever going to happen.
Yeah.
And, you know, the older you get into your 30s and just older in general, the more you realize you don't know anything. And
Yeah.
that's what kind of sets you up for the rest of your life and learning and all that shit.
Yeah. I was gonna say when we were younger, it's just kind of like, it's like you have to be immature to some extent, otherwise you're not gonna realize like where you're going wrong,
Right.
you know. So it's kind of like at the time, you know, it sucks looking back and being like, I just wasted all that time doing a bunch of dumb shit when I could have just like had my head, you know, whatever, grinding, but it doesn't work like that.
No.
You know, like you have to fail to get better. Like
I agree.
you can't just wake up and be like, I know exactly what I need to do. You know?
You wouldn't be prepared for the moment. I feel like I was definitely like I could have had more opportunities if I grinded harder in my 20s, or if I did this or did that. But would I have been truly ready for that opportunity? Probably not.
Yeah.
And now, you know, going through rock bottom and kind of those hardships in life, now I feel like I'm more prepared than ever for any opportunity that comes my way.
Yeah.
You know, 10 years ago, if something artist approached me or a label or whatever the case may be, you know, that would have been cool, but I would have probably blew that up too, you know. And now in this day and age, I feel like I'm only more and more prepared for whatever comes my way, any opportunity.
Yep.
Which is very important.
I was gonna say there's a similar thing that happened to me recently. I recently got into crypto, and I started investing like a madman.
Yeah.
And the shit, like, it's like being in a casino, bro.
Yeah.
Like, have you ever messed with crypto at all?
No, my wife is pretty into it right now, but I don't know. I have like a addictive personality, so I think, like you said, like comparing it to a like gambling or a casino.
Yeah, I wouldn't get
and-
into it unless you like really are prepared to like, okay, I'm not gonna spend this money here. I'm
Right.
gonna spend only this money every month. Like that's where I went wrong. And it's like the way I see it is like you pay for experience with the money that you lose.
Right.
Right. So it's like once that happens, once you feel the sting of losing, then there's where the real wisdom comes in.
For sure.
Same goes for like as an artist. Like
Yeah.
when you feel the sting of like shit not going the way you expected, but you're still here, you still can make more music, like it's the same concept.
Right.
It's preparation, that's all it is. But you can't really become actually prepared unless you know what it feels like to not be prepared.
Absolutely. You got to
know?
the best teacher in life is life itself.
Yeah.
Like the lessons that you go through. You could, you know, as a kid or when you're growing up in your 20s, how many older people or your parents or whatever gave you advice that you should have clearly followed?
Yeah.
Like the most obvious advice ever, and you just completely go the other way because you won't learn until you actually go through it. You know, how many people that you dated that somebody was like, that person's not the right person for you, but you don't care, you know?
Yeah.
And then you experience it yourself and you're like, oh, all those people were trying to tell me that before.
And that's the thing. It's like human condition, right? It doesn't matter how many times you warn someone, like, "Yo, you're about to jump off a cliff. There's the cliff. You see it?" It doesn't matter because it's almost like that's not in the paradigm of someone's consciousness.
Right.
Like you could warn them all you want, but they still have to. The ego's gonna kick in, and they're gonna be like, "No, I'm gonna fuck up on my own, and I'm gonna deal with it." You know. So it's like, I don't know. And then you like hindsight, right? You just look back and you're like, wow, I was an idiot.
Right.
But at least I'm still here. At least I'm growing from it.
Yeah, you got to look forward because if you just dwell too much in the past and what, you know, you should have been doing or the what ifs, you can't grow from there, you know? So stop it and grow from that point in your life.
That reminds me of that book, The Power of Now. Have you heard of that?
I have.
Did you read it?
No, I do not. I'm not a big reader. I'm more of a visual learner myself. So
I've heard of it.
Yeah,
you can have like a library of all the things you've heard of.
Oh, dude, it would be everything in the world. So many things in my subconscious. Yeah, I've heard of that probably.
That'd be like a funny skit, right? You like check out my collection. And it's just like a piece of paper that says the name of the book, and then I've heard of that.
That would be 90% of the things that I talk to about, things with people. Is like, oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah, for sure.
That's funny. So you got a show tonight?
I do.
Okay.
So I'm on tour right now, uninvited guest tour. I kind of jumped on Jansonia's, it's his birthday today when we're filming. So happy birthday, Jans.
Happy birthday. Let me see if I can get the right one. Oh, I got the wrong one. Damn it.
That might have been the right one.
Happy birthday, Jansen.
Let's go.
Where'd Jansen go?
He's back there doing.
Hey, come
Jansen
in here,
things.
bro.
Yeah, come here.
It's Jansen's birthday.
You gotta pick one of the
Shout
cameras.
outs.
You're in the middle of both of them.
Hi, everybody. I hope you're having a wonderful afternoon.
What are we doing tonight?
In the afternoon, we playing at the aquarium. We got Dakotah coming through, and I'm rapping. Cold Front, Cold Sweat, Muja Messiah, Muja Messiah is coming through as well.
And we got a first timer AK. So
Oh, yeah.
NLB, baby.
shout out. I'm really excited. It's an aquarium, favorite venue.
Yeah.
It seems like every
OG.
time that I do the podcast, I got a show at the aquarium. Like,
Has it
a
been
few
like
hours,
that every single
every
time?
single one. The last two ones. Too.
No way.
It just makes sense, you know what I
Dang.
mean? Because I don't live here, so it makes,
Yeah.
when I'm coming into town for a show, you guys are always gracious, and Kevin too, helping set up and doing these podcasts with me. And
Oh, yeah.
again, it's always great to just come and check in. Fargo music scene has been such a huge thing in my heart, in my career.
Yeah.
Really was like the first spot where I would come, being from Minot and coming to Fargo and feeling like, there was something bigger in North Dakota that we could make happen with rap. And we've both been integral in kind of the scene for the last 10 years. So, like I said, it's always cool to catch up and do these with you.
It's kind of like we're still like on a similar path, but not at the same time. Because like I veered down the path of like studio stuff and like visuals and like business ownership and shit. And you're like more like full on like an artist, and you're doing like regular artist things, but at the same time, at the heart of it, we're both artists.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure, expressing ourselves in whatever art form it.
Yep.
And I'm mad respect, seriously.
Thank you. Well,
I mean,
each portion of it serves its purpose, right?
Yeah.
Like you couldn't have one without the other.
No, they complement each other perfectly.
Yeah.
Yeah, like there would be no music without a studio to record it
Yeah,
in. So
I know,
there
right?
you go.
I mean, you could record at your apartment or whatever.
That's what I do. I just record at my
Yeah.
house.
Yeah, that's
I'm just like very. I don't
Well,
know.
you know
it
what,
is.
though?
It's just
If-
the way I've always done it.
if you know what you're doing, though, you can make it sound like it's studio
For
quality.
sure. I mean, the accessibility to equipment these days is incredible. I remember when I first started way back then, I was using like a webcam microphone to record music, and we were recording the instrumental out loud with the vocals at the same, just craziness.
Oh, I used to, dude.
Oh my-
yeah,
dude,
yeah.
just super caveman stuff. I think Mixcraft was the was the program. I
Yeah.
used some free program, but you make it shake and you make it work. But nowadays anyone can have with a 500 under $1,000, you can get a really good setup for your house. And a lot of these kids are recording on their phones now using BandLab, and stuff is like popping off, and they're making dope music. And it's like, I can't believe that somebody can make a dope song off their phone these days.
Well, it's just like in this day and age now, like the attention span is extremely short.
For sure.
So that's going to also play into the fact that they're not going to be so critical over details.
No.
You know?
If something is like muffled or like the low end or whatever, they don't care about any of that. If it sounds good, it sounds good. And distortion is very creative these days, so it's really cool.
What do we got?
13 minutes.
Is it still running?
It's running, but I can shut it down and reset.
Let's take a break.
All right.
And we'll be right back after these breaks. Messages from the breaks. These are the breaks.
Break it up. Because
it's protein. Protein.
just live off that for the rest of your life.
Yeah. Pork rind addict.
But it's not kosher.
No, it wouldn't be. But Kevin wants to live out Doritos, so.
What flavor Doritos are the best Doritos?
The original.
It's a basic
What about
answer.
Cool Ranch?
No, I'm a sweet Thai chili.
That's good.
What the?
too.
I've been
the
away
purple
from.
bag. Oh my god.
Is that like a newer concept? 'Cause
It's
I've-
newer. It's newer. It's probably like within 10 years, but smack.
yeah.
Those are my favorite ones. Big Doritos guy.
I haven't had Doritos, and the only time I've had Doritos is like if I'm at like an
A
event.
party, like a birthday
Yeah, and
party.
they got those
or-
little tiny bags. Come eat these.
What about like taco in a bag?
Bro,
with
it's been-
Doritos.
It's been forever, bro.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Doritos Los Tacos.
You know, all I eat now is just beef, eggs.
Oh yeah, true. Yeah, you're on eating a lot better than I am. I'm like, yeah, I just what, you don't have Taco Bell? Like, come on, dude. What? Are you kidding me? Jeez.
Well, I kind of had no choice because, you know, health problems and shit. But
Yeah.
you know what? It's a blessing in disguise because, like I said earlier, like we were talking about the whole you fuck up and then you learn from it kind of deal.
Right.
Like my whole childhood, I ate so bad.
I still do. So clearly, look at us both. You see, that's what happens when you eat well. This is what happens when you don't. So
Hey, you'd be surprised. I got very sick for a while, and I just looked like I had goddamn leprosy, bro.
Yeah.
It was bad. I was like bleeding through my clothes.
that's terrible.
My skin was like covered in lesions and shit.
Wow.
This
That's
is not
horrible.
more recently. This is
Right.
like another health epidemic that I went through when I was even younger.
Yeah.
So it's like I just got a lot of wisdom from all that stuff. I got a lot of stories I can tell people, and,
Right.
you know. And then when it comes to like health advice, I don't give health advice unless I've experienced it myself.
For sure.
Because that's what I think it makes the difference between like someone who's educated and someone who's wise.
Right.
Because like you can be educated, meaning like people can tell you things, but if you've never experienced what they're telling you, you only half know it.
Right.
It's a half truth, no matter what, you know, because they could tell you something and then you could experience the opposite, and then you're gonna be like, what's up with this data here?
For sure.
Why is this not applying to me?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, yeah, wisdom is like the ultimate. It's what do you call it? There's like scientific evidence, and then there's anecdotal evidence. And I honestly trust anecdotal evidence more because it's something that actually happened, something that someone actually experienced,
For sure.
you know? Because people can lie, bro.
Yeah,
You know,
I
you
think
want
the
to talk
internet
about the
is
medical
perfect.
establishment?
For sure. I think, well, to your point, a wise man once said nothing at all. So I
Yeah.
agree that it's like you know, if you could be told so many different things
Yep.
and then try to say something to someone and you're just spreading more misinformation. And
Yeah.
with the internet now, it's just so easy to do stuff like that.
Oh yeah, you can use AI and you can literally make a video of anyone saying anything, doing
Yeah.
anything,
Mhm.
and that shit can be convincing, bro.
For sure.
Like,
I don't doubt that they'll start doing that with artists.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know, artists can die and they'll still be able to release music from them with AI and all
Yep.
that stuff. It's a dangerous road. It could be a cool tool for, you know, certain things, but, you know, people will always
Have you seen some of the AI generated songs that have been coming out? Like
for sure.
someone just made a video. Is like I just asked AI to make a country song about yada yada, and like the shit was a banger.
Yeah.
And it's just AI, bro. It's just like a computer just thinking up shit on the spot.
Right.
And it sounds no worse than something that would come out of a major record label's, you know, studio.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, dude, we got to be careful
Yeah,
with
indeed.
the AI shit.
Technology
'cause-
is always like that. You know what I mean? There's so much immense power that can be used for good or bad.
Yep.
You got to be responsible with it.
That's like with Chat GPT.
Mm-hmm. I've definitely used that a couple times.
Have you?
I used it to help me write an outline for a music video. You know, kind of give it a basic idea because I've never written one of those before. So to kind of help me know how to write it in a format, giving it my ideas or whatever, it can be a good tool. I've used it to kind of help me write my bio because I'm not great with the English language sometimes. I don't proofread or do any of
Yeah.
that. So to, you know, give information and have it kind of write it out and then tweak it and change it. But it's still my idea at the end of the day. You know,
Right.
in that sense, it can be used as a great tool.
Yeah.
But if you're just using it to like cheat on a test or
Scam people.
or scam people
Yeah.
or do anything like that, then yeah, it could be not great.
Yeah, because I mean, I've heard of people using Chat GPT to like do trades, like crypto trading.
Yeah.
There's like Chat GPT, tell me exactly what I need to buy at what time and for how much, and then set a bot to just do it for me.
Right.
And dude, they're like making like $10,000 a day.
That's wild.
It's insane with AI.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, to some extent, AI is gonna take a lot of jobs. You know,
Yeah.
They take our jobs.
This is the culmination of it happening.
Yeah.
This is the reality we live in.
Yeah. So, But that being said, it could also be a good thing, because if you get with the times and you learn how to use the systems,
Right.
you can get rich.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, so it's like there's like some level of like ignorance to that. Like if you're well aware that shit is just changing at a rapid rate, and you're just like, no, I don't want to get with the times. I'm just gonna keep using my lawnmower instead of a robot and whatever. And it's just like, you gotta like, I don't know, to be human is to evolve.
For
you
sure.
know, to
Yeah.
keep moving.
Yeah.
So it's like, even if you were in their position, like these billionaires and shit, you'd still want to be innovating. You'd still want to be coming out with new shit all the time, or you get bored.
Absolutely.
And
I
that's
think
the
that's just human nature.
That's the reason why shit is advancing so much, is because these super rich people, they get bored.
People are curious.
Yeah.
Insanely curious.
They're like, what else can I do?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, you know, and for some people like that, like the limits are, endless.
Yeah.
There's you can achieve anything.
Yeah.
Why can't we, do this or do that? And if you got the resources financially, you could, figure it out.
Yeah. So speaking of resources, you've been working on an album now for how long?
So since the last one that I dropped, I've been working on Uninvited Guest, which I just released 3 weeks ago. And a lot of the songs were newer stuff, but, there's still a couple of the songs. I did a song with Malavinci, who's an artist here in Fargo. And it was a hook that I did 3 years ago, like even before I got sober, anything like that. So some ideas like that just came together over time, over the period of 3 years, something like that. But a lot of it is about where I'm at in my life right now. I feel like the uninvited guest. I feel like I'm, the person that's kind of kicking down the door, and people are curious about, like, who is this? I'm starting to get a little bit of more buzz and more emotion even since the last time that we talked. So I feel like that, and the music really kind of reflects that too. Hell Was Born was all about me getting sober, and it was a lot more emotional. This one is like, it still has those emotional points, but a lot of it is very like in your face, like kicking the door down. This is who I am. The confidence is here. I finally feel like I belong now, for all these years of kind of just being another rapper from North Dakota. I kind of feel like I'm standing out.
Right, because that was kind of a cliche for a while. You're just like, Fargo rapper, North Dakota rapper,
sure.
Whatever. But it's like, you've definitely been creating your own lane.
Right, but still embracing that, like, using that, what most people would consider as a disadvantage as a superpower. Like, there is no rappers in North Dakota that have ever done anything like that. So, why not embrace it? It could be, a badge of honor, and something that, somebody that doesn't know who I am sees me on the internet and is like, oh, word, a rapper from North Dakota. Now you're intrigued. Now you just have to have a good music to kind of hook them in, and good social media presence. And I'm getting better at it. It's just, growth and learning.
Because you had Logic react to your music?
Yeah,
recently?
He did a couple songs. So he did a friend of mine that I did a song with told me it was in his Discord, and he was running like a contest. So you could submit music and they would listen to it every week. They had like a bracket, and I did a couple different songs, and it was great content. They rated the songs good. The Only Faye stuff came out of that, because he said I had like a porn star name, which is hilarious. Which is because it's my actual name. I'm like, I'm cursed for life.
Fuck.
But then I forget, one of my buddies was like Only Faye, and I was like, that's perfect, dude. So I made the merch like the next day.
Oh, you have to.
I got it all printed up, and then when the next time he did another review, I told him about it and whatever. But just flipping those kind of moments where, you might be prideful and like take it as like a diss or whatever, and turning it into something funny and, content useful, and push the brand. And, because a lot of my fans now still all say Only Faye, and I still have those shirts. And it's just using what I've learned over the past like 2 years is taking moments like that and kind of flipping them into something that's, marketable and cool and enjoyable for your fan base, that can kind of build lore and make people invested. Because at the end of the day, that's what my job is, to get people invested into my music and in me as a person. So I'm starting to get that more. And I can feel like people are at the shows, they know the lyrics, they're hanging out, they want pictures, they want autographs. Like it's not on a large scale, but I'm starting to see like genuine fans that love me for me and my music, and it touches them and means something to them. So I feel like I'm on the right path.
There's no such thing as bad publicity either. So it's
absolutely not.
That's what like makes the difference. That's what like determines the difference between a good artist
Right.
and just an artist. Like
Yeah.
a good one, dude. If you're doing something, you're gonna have haters.
Absolutely.
That's standard.
Mm-hmm.
And it depends on what you do with that attention.
Yeah.
You know, like if most of your comments, like 99% of your comments are negative, create some kind of a buzz around that. Like you said, have lore. You know,
Right,
it's
for
like
sure.
just my hater. All my fans are haters. Fuck it.
Right.
I'm gonna keep doing whatever I'm doing.
I'm a big like wrestling fan, so like a heel, the bad guy, like taking that heat, as they say, and turning it into like selling tickets.
Yep.
Really embrace being the person that everybody hates or whatever.
Yep.
That's a part of the art form too. Create a character, create a persona or whatever, and roll with it.
Well, speaking of heels, you like in wrestling, right? Like Dave Bautista, he started as a heel.
Yeah, for sure.
For Triple H and Ric Flair and all that shit.
Yeah,
and then
Evolution.
he became way bigger than them.
Yeah, for sure. He was the guy.
And that's because he was himself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everyone saw him and they were like, why is this guy in the background? Like, he should be up at the front because he's like this crazy roided out dude looking like a monster. But it's like, it's because he was himself. Right.
I feel like the guys that really break through, they're using those pieces of reality with the character, like Stone Cold Steve Austin. He was a wrestler for a long time with a bunch of different gimmicks, had long blonde hair.
Yeah.
But when he finally embraced, being from that son of a bitch from Texas and took a little bit of his own personality into it, then it reaches for the super, the stars and.
Well, and that's the thing. It's like and you've had different like images and personas over the years, right?
Yeah.
So it's like that's the only way you can really find out what your superpowers are, what you're really really good at, and like how you can portray yourself the best way possible.
For sure.
You have to keep trying, and like even with the Undertaker, I'm sure you were aware, like he wasn't always like this dark dude.
No, not at all.
He started as someone completely different.
Yep.
And that's wrestling is a good euphemism for like as an artist, like
Absolutely.
just keep trying shit.
Yeah, throw stuff at the wall. Because like you were talking about earlier, like persistence, like if you let those things get you down and you stop, you might be right there. You might be just right on the cusp of figuring it out, of where you want to take your career and who you want to be and as a person or whatever the case may be. You might be right there. So just keep trying stuff, be consistent, keep trying stuff,
Yep. That's kind of like with like crypto too. Like you buy in, and like it's at the bottom, right?
Right, where a lot of people want to get out.
And then literally you're like, fuck this shit. You sell, and then it goes fucking.
You're like, I should have
100x. You know what I'm saying? It's the same concept. Like you just have to have conviction.
Yeah, yeah.
If you don't have conviction, you don't be doing what you're doing. Just find something else.
I agree.
If you don't have conviction, then it's not worth your time. So
I think that's always been like the biggest mark of my career and as like a person in anything that I've ever done. I've dealt with a lot of persecution, whatever the case is, being a rapper, especially from my hometown when I first started, or when I started to make a name in North Dakota. There's other artists, animosity or whatever, but it's always staying true. This is who I want to be, and this is what I've always wanted to do, and I'm going to do anything. I'm almost going to be delusional how bad that I want this and how much that I'm going to pursue it. I'm going to do whatever I can, and I hope that maybe that inspires the next generation of artists.
Awesome. Break. Yeah, we're gonna take a break, and then Kevin's gonna come on the show for some extra questioning.
Let's do it.
Interrogation.
And we're back.
Yeah, now it's just me.
What happened? What?
Transformed there. Yeah.
What is going on? What's up, Kevin?
I was just wanting to talk to you about that. It's been 10 years since we met.
Yeah, it has.
Yeah, there was the rap battle that was in.
Was it in the shop? Was it?
Yeah,
was that the one in the shop?
Yeah.
I have a funny story about after that happened. I was with some friends of mine, and we went back to the hotel, and they were all drunk in the car, like fighting. And when we got back there, I was trying to get out of the car, and a dude grabbed me out of the car and threw me at another car, and it messed my back up so bad. I'll never forget that night because of that. But yeah, 10 years ago, it's pretty crazy.
I know, and that was like when everyone found out who I am in a way, because
Right.
it seems like all the cool kids and everyone was there.
Yeah.
And it's just, I don't know. It's just like every time I talk about it, someone's like, "Oh yeah, I was there." I was like, "You were?" I didn't know you were there, because there were so many people there, and it's like most of us got to meet each other. I mean, I guess there's a few talent that you met at the show that you know today, right?
Yeah.
That, like,
Stuart was there. Lex, I believe.
was that your first time meeting them?
I don't know. Not Stuart. It might have been Lex. The first time I think I met Lex was there. I remember, dude, Will Ross. What happened to him?
I don't know, man.
There's a lot of those people from back in the day. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we're still standing. We're still doing it 10 years later. Not very many of us are still doing it. So congrats to you, my friend.
I appreciate it. Yeah. There's still a lot more to extend myself and to grow and everything.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
So there's still a lot more out there. I mean, I'm trying to get more into video and stuff. And then,
Right.
of course, I'm with, with Natalie on the whole, well, I'm losing my words now. I'm now with Natalie with the whole entire, like, agency that she's with, just taking photos for her. Now I'm
Right.
learning how to take, like, hardcore professional headshots and, like,
That's sick.
shots that the industry would prefer,
Mm-hmm.
So, instead of, even though it is kind of like restricting the art just a tad bit, but, I'm going to learn how to balance,
Yeah.
So, one thing I was just about to ask about, or just mention about, is that I am so refreshed that your new album is like made for you to listen to it.
Right.
If that makes any sense.
Right. It's like a whole cohesive like project
Yeah.
together.
And even mainstream artists has been slacking on that because of streaming. They don't.
Yeah.
they're-
Singles. That's the way to go.
That's all. They're like, okay, yeah, we're just gonna put in a couple hits and then all this fill-in songs for
Yeah,
an album.
yeah.
It doesn't like back then you used to listen to it and then it's a story
Right.
throughout the whole album. And
Right.
I'm very happy that you did that. And it's we need more of that. And maybe it'll come back, because I swear people have been very minimalist and very very light when it comes down to creativity, arts, even
Yeah.
style, just everything. It's time to be out there, time to be live. I mean, that's why I'm wearing a red shirt right now instead of black, because it's just time to be more live.
I agree. I
Yeah.
agree. Well,
Yeah.
thank you. I really do appreciate that. I was always a big fan of projects that were exactly like that. You listen to them and they had continuity between different albums, like different skits and different ideas, and it told a story, and it really had an overarching theme throughout everything. It was really like, it was almost like watching a movie, and I feel like albums are such an important thing for artists because they really snapshot where you're at in your life. It's a body of work that you work on for a year or two or whatever the case may be, and it really can capture like where you're at in life and what you've gone through. And I always try to do that with albums, and I agree. I think it's like a dying like kind of art form, but it's super important to me. It really is. So I'm very glad that you appreciate that, because I sometimes as an artist you feel like you're the only one that cares about the small minute details and stuff. So it's really cool that I really do appreciate that.
This is something I hope people follow and be influenced on, because we need to bring it back. I'm tired of this slapping shit together and calling it a day.
Right.
Like, it is time to be creative every inch of the album. Like even back then when we had like album covers, you open the book and then you see the little pictures and stuff.
Reading the
Like,
lyrics,
oh
the
my
thank
gosh.
yous, all that stuff. And it all just captured the artist perfectly, their brand, as people, like everything about it was just so tailored around the artist. And it was a great experience. It made you really fall in love with these artists and the art, and it's really cool because then you get, as an artist, when you care so much about your product like that, you get to work with incredible photographers like I did. Nick Marshall did my album cover, or you get to do incredible videos that like Rhett did for us, and everything kind of builds around this idea that we all have, and we each get our own like kind of avenue to express our art in this project, and it's really thought of and really thought out. So I do really appreciate that, because I agree, it needs to come back. It really does.
And time to network with more people in reviewing your albums, because honestly, like, that stuff works really well.
Sure, yeah.
Even if they're like tiny, it
Right.
adds up, man. People have hardcore followers everywhere. You know?
Never know. You never know. And it's
Yeah.
always cool to work with new people and kind of get a different, spin on something you would have never experienced without this other person's, vision, being in there.
Mm-hmm. So I have a question. This came out somebody else. Now, if it is something personal, we'll just chop it up and call it a day.
Sure.
What's up with the sad love songs?
Oh, the sad love songs.
Yeah, what is up with that, bro?
I've always been like a sappy, like kind of, I think a lot of the music that I've made over the years was definitely, you write what you know. And when I was growing up, I was always in some sort of relationship. I was always, locked in with somebody or going through some stuff. So you write what you know. And I think I wrote a lot of sad love songs in that way. So, the first song on the album, Same Old Love Songs, it's kind of like shedding that old skin of like who I used to be, and it's this more confident kind of like, breaking out of the cocoon as the butterfly. So I'm tired of the same old love songs. I'm tired of the same old drug songs. It's like all of these, my past self and everything that I've been through, still looking back and appreciating like where I've been on through the journey. But, it's time for a new chapter. It's time to, be confident and kind of step out and become my own.
Yep. Yeah, so that's why I was like double checking on, because some people are like, is he still happily married? Like, what's going on? I'm like, me and him are close, but we're not that close, that we're just talking about our social lives like that, you know? So, like, that's the thing. So I was like, nah, I swear, like, he's happy, like,
oh, I am
good.
more than happy. My wife, Hannah, is in the light of my life. She is incredible. She has really helped me grow and be more responsible, like, financially. She's helped my career, dude. She is amazing. And I am very lucky to have someone that's that supportive in my life. Not very many people do. So, I'm an artist that likes to write through, stories, not just of my own, but things that I've experienced in the past or like people that I know. So I wouldn't take every single, lyric and dissect it like that. But
that's when you gain true fans, when they start dissecting what you're saying. So you gotta watch what you say.
Like Palian said, man, no press is bad press. So I think if people are talking about it and interested, like, oh, is it this or is it this? That only adds to the and
it's all love now. It's like, I hope he's happy. That kind of stuff.
It's positive.
Yeah, because that's a good thing. And I'm glad that you got your queen. Maybe one day I'll have mine. I mean, I'm talking to somebody, but it's just like
you never know. You're never looking for it. Like me and Hannah have been, we've known each other since we were young. We're the same age. We never thought of each other like that. Then we became friends and you never know. Mm-hmm. You're never expecting what you're trying to, you never find what you're looking for. It's always just, it pops up. So I believe Kevin, you will. I'm manifesting it.
Yeah, because like legitly, like when you're in this industry, a lot of females get it confused. They think like, oh, you take pictures of like half naked girls.
Well, that's what I can only imagine as a photographer. It's especially doing the kind of work that you do.
It's all about the passion, but also it's about the money, because I'd rather make money doing what I love to do.
For sure.
So if I say, oh yeah, well I'm happy I'm making that money, people are like, oh, so it's not about the passion? I'm like, it is about the passion. You know why? Because I'm investing a ton of money and I'm studying like crazy. And then like there's clients hitting me up at 11 o'clock at night. I know that's kind of sketchy, but at the end of the day, I'm locking in, especially during winter where we're like struggling and stuff. So I'm like, because winter, it's too cold to do photo shoots outside. So, I'm going to get whatever comes my way, even if it's a potential wedding client at like 11 p.m. and stuff. So, you know what I'm saying? Like,
it's dating an artist is not for the weak, because, I've definitely experienced that throughout my career of, going to shows and you're making songs for girls and there's girls at your shows and a lot of people can't really handle that, but the right person will always, it'll always be worth it and they'll always make it work. And they won't make you feel like you're doing something bad or something by doing what you love. They'll see it for what you truly are. And it's the best feeling in the world.
So for a happily married man, what kind of advice you could give to the females or even to the other artists out there?
Don't settle. And it sounds so like cliche and easy, but it really is. Like there will be a person that will accept you for who you are 100%, no matter what, all your flaws and your shortcomings and all of that. There will be a person that is perfect for you. Mm-hmm. So don't ever settle and think that, ignore the red flags, as they say, because they can be very obvious sometimes, or they can not be obvious.
Yeah.
But
and some people be judging those red flags and be like, hey, that might be a red flag, but things could be fixed easy. You know what I'm saying?
I can fix them. I swear I can.
Yeah, it really depends on the situation. I mean, it also depends on how you grow up and stuff. But I mean, that's just another psychology world of things, you know. But as an artist on both ends, me doing photography and some video and even designing, for example, this.
Right.
But you make music where you have to do psychology as well.
Yeah.
To attract people, or just to, what would people understand? Because one thing that builds fans is that, I could understand what your pain is, and that's what makes them love you too, because like, you're making a song that they're like, wow, I feel this inside me too, So, I mean, that's the thing too. I mean, there's some songs that you be making, I'm like, damn, I'm feeling it right now, I'm going to jam to this shit right now, And it's natural. It's not just like, I know Dakotah Faye, so I'm doing this. Nah, like, it's starting to become that stage where, you're playing it because it's the song you like, you know what I'm saying? And I'm proud of you, bro. So
thank you.
Keep up the good work.
Absolutely, always. Same to you.
And stay humble, because
For sure.
that side of you is beautiful. You know what I'm saying? Like,
of course,
I love that side of you when you're promoting people who are either like, near you or below you or even above.
Right.
You're giving them all equally love. You're all like, helping them out, putting them out there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's the same story. On my behalf, is I want to help out the community as well, as best as I can as well. So,
well, that's why
I'm proud of you, bro.
Thank you. I'm proud of you too.
Yeah.
It means it really does mean a lot, because above everything, that's always been my number one goal, is to always extend the hand to anybody that asks. Because I remember being 14 years old, and I had no frame of reference on how to be an artist, how to record myself, how to do anything, and I really wish that I had somebody that I could ask questions about, and I never had that. So anytime a younger artist or a bigger artist or whatever asks me any advice, a connect or whatever the case, I am more than willing to help, because that's the least that I can do. At the end of the day, I want to build a community in this state, and that's how you do it. You be humble, and you extend the hand. So thank you seriously, man, it means a lot. It really does.
So what kind of advice do you have for people who, like, might be blinded by their own, like an artist thing, when you're blinded by your ego, and how do you get out of that?
Listen, use your ears. Sometimes, like we were talking about earlier, a wise man once said nothing at all. Really be a sponge and try to understand more. That'll help you in every avenue of life. The more, instead of, having an initial reaction to something that happens to you or somebody else, try to understand where this energy or this person or this idea is coming from, and try to digest it. And I think you'll take that, and it'll only help you grow immensely, and you'll shed that ego, you shed that pride, and you'll really let in, positive energy and love, and it'll exude from you and people, and it'll just transfer between everything in the world that you touch and you make, and only good things can happen from there.
Yep. And another one is you love yourself,
Got to. It's got to come from within outwards.
Yeah. Once you have that little slight insecurity, you might not even know it. A lot of people don't know that they're feeling this way.
Yeah.
And especially during the winter, I think the winter messes
seasonal
up. Seasonal
depression,
yeah,
they say.
I get seasonal depression. So, my moods are not the greatest during the winter, but I got this. I'm going to keep my head up. I got this,
Yeah.
But, I would say, the love for yourself will make you, more lovable and understandable, because you won't be easily offended. I'm not talking about you in general, but, people in general.
For sure.
And it's like, that's the thing about it. So... But yeah, I'm trying to figure out if there's anything else we could talk about. I think we're almost there. I think
that was an incredible way to. I loved exploring the psychology of all of that. That was an incredible conversation.
I appreciate it. Yeah, I just want to help others, and if a lot of people are looking up to you now, and this is a growth of everybody. It's time to, So
yeah.
All right.
Set the standard.
I guess that's it, guys. So thanks.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. Space Podcast. Come check out the new studio. We're here. We're hanging out. You come record music. You could do a podcast. These guys are doing incredible work. Thank you guys for having me. It's time to peace out, baby.
We hope you enjoyed this SpacePod experience. Be sure to subscribe for more video content.
all about that Skrilla. We all in this bitch. Like, come on, stop playing, bro. Stop playing. Go run that shit up, kid.